Good afternoon, everyone. We are at 3:02. We're waiting for more attendees because we had a super large registration, so we're waiting for more of them to sign up. This is the How to Sell Office Condos in a New Normal Era. So in about, I would say probably next minute to 2 minutes, we'll get started. Just waiting for some late attendees to arrive. And super excited about this. We had about easily 200 plus attendees, which really gives me a lot of happiness, a lot of joy to know that a lot of the residential broker community is interested in this new topic and what is coming to South Florida, which is these new office condos, and that we're so excited to learn and explore new avenues for the residential broker community. So it's right now it's 3:02. I'm going to give it to about 3:03, maximum 3:04. I'm just looking and see how the attendees keep signing up, and then we'll get going with that. Give me 1 second. Let me just, I'm going to start with my screen. And Corinne, tell me that, Corinne will be helping. Corinne, just let me know that you're seeing my blank screen of my first slide. Am I correct?
We're seeing the screen of the video that, yes, you're going to.
Perfect. Okay. So Corinne is helping us on the chats and on the questions. So I'm going to ask everyone for the questions, go ahead and pop your question on the questions tab. What we'll probably do at the end is Corinne will start categorizing a lot of these questions because sometimes they, 2 or 3 people, attendees might have the same question. So maybe your question won't be read verbatim, but it'll probably be answered. So go ahead and pop your questions on there. She is helping us with the questions tab. And so at the end, we'll address them all. I'm just looking at the time.
I think we can wait another minute, maybe.
Yeah, we'll hit 3:05. It just keeps growing. The people still look like they're joining. So it's 3:04, 3:05. Again, welcome everyone. How to sell office condos in this new normal market. And it's really catered towards a residential broker community because what's coming is you're going to be seeing a lot of people come work now in Miami besides just living here. So very excited to talk about this. So just checking the time, 3:04. We should give it 1 more second, 30 more seconds. We should be getting started.
Oh, I will take the opportunity to tell everyone that we will be sharing the video of this seminar with a thank you email with the email that you registered with.
Okay, Corinne, I'm going to get started with everybody. So again, welcome everyone. Welcome to How to Sell Office Condos educational series. Again, this was created to really cater to the residential broker community that has always been selling the beautiful city of Miami, the residential landscape, the beautiful condos, buildings, the weather, everything that Miami has to offer. But with that in mind, we have seen a growing amount of people that were looking at Miami just for vacation or as a second home. They are now looking, and we all know why, to reside here permanently. So with that, obviously, there's going to be people that are coming to work now and move their offices, and you are going to be asked to help them with these offices. So with that said, I'm going to get started with a quick video that I hope gets you excited about where Miami is today. All right, play on.
You have to remember that Miami is almost brand new. This is the meeting place. It is not the capital of anything. It is certainly not the capital of Latin America. It is not the capital of Florida, but it is the absolute center of the 2 hemispheres.
Miami's a very young city, and as a very young city, we all remember arriving. In Miami, you have the opportunity to create things that have been created 400 years ago in other cities.
This is a place where the American dream simply happens, and it happens every day of the week.
Downtown Miami represents to me a place of culture and excitement and youth and fun.
We're going to significantly change the fabric of downtown by delivering this development.
We've got some fresh new young talent doing some things that I know you haven't heard before. 1, 2, 3, listen.
I came here when I was almost 7 years old. I didn't speak a word of English. I said the 60% of the people in Miami and Miami-Dade that live here weren't born here. I'm one of them.
Is because there is a sense of possibility and a sense of opportunity that there's no way you can find in other places. Aside from the fact that we probably look a little bit like future American cities. We speak more languages than they do in other cities. I mean, I don't want to brag, but it's a really interesting place to live. And our level of diversity is probably a model for a lot of other American cities.
When you start caring about what you're doing, it starts affecting everybody else, and everything around you gets better.
Brightline is experience focused, and the DDA has been a supporter of this vision of ours since the very beginning. It's a really good reason to wake up in the morning.
Miami is a great place to do business. It's a place that's extremely attractive for new entrepreneurs and established entrepreneurs to move companies into. There's access to talent.
Talent can come from the obvious ways, which is graduate degrees, high-end universities, and of course those are highly valued and really competent people. But here in Miami, we really draw great talent from other countries.
And I get inspired when we come together as a community, understanding that we have challenges, but we're going to meet those challenges together. That's what inspires me.
Miami is like my heart. It's my soul. It's the reason why, I get up every morning.
Stepping into Miami, you actually are stepping into something that satisfies your needs now, but it sets you up for the next step.
Miami is what the rest of the country will be, or what America will be 30 or 40 years from now, but it's today. We have the geography, we have the weather, but more importantly, we have the people.
This is a town of makers, a town of builders, a town of strivers. I try not to varnish it. I don't think this is a place for everybody. I tell people, if you are not really comfortable and committed to diversity, don't come. If you're afraid of change, don't come. Do come if you're interested in building. Do come if you're the kind of person who says, I can transform and create better. That's the nature of this place.
Okay, 1 second. So I don't know about you all, I'm super excited when I see that video. And that video, for some of us, I myself have personally been in Miami for 40 years. A little bit about myself. I've seen the transformation of Miami. I've seen where we used to have to convince people to come live here or come have a second home. And they used to say, well, all you really have is good weather and Disney World. That's no longer the case. I think for the new generation of realtors, you're very fortunate. You don't have to go through that challenge anymore of really setting Miami as a residential place to come live at. That's already done. And this slide, this is going to tell us a little bit about what the next wave of business is coming. So my name is Ivan Ramirez. I'm the VP of Sales. I've been in the real estate industry now for 20 plus years. I've done, just like all of you, many residential towers, many residential product, especially in the development division, pre-construction sales. But in the last 5 years, a little bit about my bio, I have really dove into the office condo market, which is a natural transformation of what Miami's going through. As we all know, offices are typically 95% of them are built for lease. So they are lease product only. Developers rarely ever put up office condos for sale. So in the past 5 years, we have seen this type of evolution. Developers are taking notice and they are now developing offices in order to give the broker community and buyers the opportunity to buy their office. we and myself, Ivan, and also one commercial and one Sotheby's have had the fortune to be involved with Aventura Park Square, which is sold out, 100,000 square feet of Class A office condos, 40,000 square feet of wellness office condos. And this is a actual completed product, same as Forum Aventura, which is 95% sold. It's in Aventura. We have another product that will be coming probably next year. It's called Forum Park. And our newest and most proudest, and actually the most updated and really set for today's new office user, is Creative HQ, which we are now selling. So this is just a quick representation of what you see is in the office condo market. And why is this happening? I mentioned, why are the developers taking notice and now putting up product? And it's not just beautiful luxury residential towers, but office condos, because of the evolution of South Florida. South Florida, we've always known had great weather. Now we have art and culture. We have the great beaches. We have the best global cuisine. And now we also have the great shopping and entertainment. So so the things that are happening in the art and culture world, we see Art Basel, which is a huge driver of traffic and just attention and exposure for Miami. We have the Adrian Art Center. We have the New World Symphony, Perez Art Museum, Bass Museum, Miami World Resort, and Skyrise, which is going to be like our iconic tower compared to the Eiffel Tower in Paris. This is going to put us like that beautiful, iconic picture. So that's the art and culture scene. Then you have the dining, which is some of the top chefs around the world are opening up the best restaurants. So we have the dining now for everybody. It's Trattorio Milos, Makoto, Zuma, Scarpetta, Naoe, Kaido. So some of the top chefs around the world want to have their restaurant in Miami. Sports now, we have every major sports covered. We have obviously the American Airlines Arena, the Marlins Park, Miami Homesteads, Miami, the Super Bowl. We have Formula One coming to Miami. We have the Hard Rock, Miami MLS, which is the latest edition of our sports, with the David Beckham and Victoria Beckham also coming to reside in Miami, and the Trump National Doral, which hosts the golf courses. So we have everything covered. So the architects now are recognized in Miami as a place where they want to put their signature on some of the most iconic towers in South Florida. So these are now called these Starchitects. We have Carlos Odd, Herzog and de Morion, Norman Foster, Zaha Hadid, Cesar Pelli, Reem Koolhaas, these are hard names, Richard Meyer and Frank Gehry. So this is just a quick, and there's many more. We have now the top brands around the world that want to attach themselves and be known in Miami. The hospitality industry with the Ritz, the W, Conrad's. You have the Auberge, St. Regis, Four Seasons. You have fashion industry with the new Armani Towers and the Fendis with the Chateau Fendi, and car makers with the Porsche Tower and the Aston Martin Tower. So these are just all the fundamentals that are putting us on the map globally to live. But again, we are no longer needing to convince people to live here or to have their second home. Now we're seeing the retail expand. So the expansion at Shops at Merrick Park, Design District, Aventura Mall, Sawgrass Mall, American Dream Mall, which is going to be one of the largest in the world, in the country. The Bal Harbor Shops is expanding. We have the top shopping destinations in the world. All this is now seeing a new wave of development, which is usually associated with large cities, and that's called mixed-use developments. And mixed-use developments, what they bring into play is your live, work, and play all in one development. So that is also huge for a city like Miami. When people that are associated with mixed-use development, they come to South Florida, they like that lifestyle, they could find a place like that as well. Brickell City Center, everyone is very familiar with that. That's a huge $1.05 billion in the heart of Brickell. Downtown Doral, $1 billion product. Aventura Park Square, which we were very fortunate to be associated and really put the new downtown for Aventura with a mixed-use complex there. The Miami World Center, which is huge, and it's a $2 billion product in the heart of downtown Miami. And Metropica, which just released its first tower and just completed a $1.5 billion mixed-use product. Remember here, the work concept is coming into play. So that, sorry, go back. That really is what makes us go to why companies are seeing us as the place now to establish their workplace. Why? Because we're at the forefront of a changing global economy. We are a business-friendly tax environment. All of you as residential brokers have been hearing and know that we are extremely friendly for the Northeast when they have, and we'll see a bracket next that shows how we compare tax-wise. The #1 startup activity in the country is in South Florida. It's huge. Small companies, anybody wants to come over here, we are the #1 destination for them. It's impressive job growth because of that. We have unparalleled city infrastructure. You guys saw in the video, the Bright Line. It connects us now through all South Florida, eventually going all the way to Orlando and even Tampa. So now we have that infrastructure. We have the stable economy and banking system. And then obviously the quality of life, the weather and world-class events. World-class events, the boat shows, the Art Basel, you have so many, Ultra, it puts us on the map everywhere. So another big factor. As far as taxes, I mean, you all have been hearing it, so this slide is really quick. We have no local personal income tax, no state personal income tax. We compare to New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. Look at those numbers when you just look down at the state and the local, and you look at all these taxes. The money that companies will be saving moving to Miami is impressive, everyone. And besides the quality of life and so many things to do here, so it's not just everything that I mentioned on the quality of life and all that stuff I mentioned. They want to move here because it's an economical reason as well. So this is a very, very good information for all of us to know on why companies are setting up shop here in Miami. And because of that, you're going to see that a lot of main companies have already done this. And this was before the virus or before the pandemic. They were already coming here. They were already shopping in Miami to see where they're setting up shop. So companies like Spotify and Live Nation. Spotify is obviously our music, a large tech company. Live Nation, which is involved in the music and concert industry. Carl Icahn, which is one of the biggest hedge funds, one American businessman out of New York, just set up shop in Sunny Isles, as you see there on the screen. Starwood Capital or Starwood Residential, which is a huge developer and also in the investment market, also setting up shop, doing their development in Miami Beach. So they are all coming. That's already pre-pandemic. Now we're noticing they're putting their eyes on us even more after this pandemic. So they are joining, and there's also reportedly Apple and Google have been scouting for office space. As a matter of fact, not too long ago, press release just came out that Amazon just closed on a huge site in Homestead for a large distribution center there. So that's another big name that's coming to Miami. Now, some of these brands have already been here. They have always recognized South Florida as a place they need to be here. And this is what you need to see. The biggest brands that have signed leases since 2013, like Porsche, Louis Vuitton, and you see some of these logos on here, Wells Fargo, Western Union, Banco de Brazil, Banco de Bogota. We are a capital, a main hub for the banking industry, the finance industry, hospitality and tourism. Some of the largest accounting firms and some of the largest attorney firms are here. So they've already been here. They've been here since 2013 and more are joining. So this slide is very representative of some of the very famous companies and logos that we are affiliated with. Because you as a residential broker, now you also need to know that you have the support of major organizations that are out there pitching for some of these companies to join Florida, which is Enterprise Florida. That is a enterprise or an organization that's driving companies towards the state of Florida. Then you have the Beacon Council. That is really focusing on trying to get them into Miami-Dade County. So it's the Economical Development Partnership. So they're trying to get people to Dade County. And then you have the Miami DDA, which is just centralized into the downtown development area of Miami. So you have major entities that are really there for your support to help you with statistics, help you with information when you're pitching to to clients that are looking to see where they want to set up shop. So with that said, I want to make you guys excited and get you ready to learn it, to work it, and to sell it. This is really where we really are going to start diving into learning how to be familiar with some of the terms, some of the terminologies that as residential brokers, we might find different or we haven't been familiar with when we start selling office condos or even commercial product. So let's first start with the type of offices. You've probably heard the terms Class A, Class B, and Class C. This is really what it means. It means Class A is a top location, like let's say downtown. It's typically new construction. The types of tenants or the types of people that are, or companies that are in there, they're top ranked. They're reputable firms. They probably have longevity. They're known around. So that's usually top ranked firms go to Class A. Then there's a lot of amenities, impressive and modern amenities to Class A buildings. Specs are top of the line. So the top of the line design, top of the line, hurricane impact windows, best lighting, anything that you could consider into the specs, they are the top of the line. Management companies, top of the line management companies that's in charge of running the office condo or the building, and that keeps it top notch. So because of that, you have a range of rent that is higher premium. So you get premium for Class A. And then you just dive into Class B, which we call it the mid-level. And then you'll see, I don't want to have to read them all out, but they're average, some deterioration, tenant mix is average. So it kind of becomes medium, middle of the line, average, and you get middle of the line rent range on that. And then Class C, it becomes on the older buildings, a little bit less desirable location, in need of some major repairs, so on and so forth. So that gives you a good idea of what Class A, Class B, and Class C. And that usually is how you start your search. When clients tell you, I'm a very reputable company, I need to be in the top notch Class A building. Or you know what, I just want to do a satellite, or don't worry, it doesn't matter for me, it's just to go over there and set up shop. I don't see clients, I don't have any problem with being in a Class C area. So that's Class A, Class B, and Class C. Here we're seeing some of the key elements, and while I mention these, I'm gonna mention also the residential terms so you could get an idea of what they mean. The common area factor is the percentage of common areas found in the building, which means like the lobbies, the corridors, the public restrooms, etc., which is added to the usable area to identify the rentable square foot. So think of all the amenities in a residential tower, that's a common area. That's a common area. In buildings, that's a factor. And typically when a developer tells you, hey, the common area factor here is 20% or 25%, that means that your office is calculated by, you're renting 1,000 square feet, you're buying 1,000 square feet, but if you have a common area factor of 20%, that means your usable or the inside of your office is really 800 square feet. So 20% minus 1,000 becomes 800 square feet, because 20% is all the amenities in the building, the lobbies, the restrooms, the gyms, the corridors, all the amenities in the building that, some buildings now, the new ones have tons and tons of amenities. So you own part of that, you own 20% of the building. So that's a common area factor. Now the rentable area is still the 1,000 square feet. You still are renting 1,000 because even though you're using 800, you still are using the other 20% in that building. So in the office market, the area is compounded on a gross basis. In the residential market, it's computed as the net AC square footage. So in residential, you might say, what's the AC living area? That's what you're selling, that's what you're buying, which is, let's say, 800 square feet AC. In ours, no, it's the 800 plus all the other rentable area in there. It's 1,000 square feet. The common area maintenance is similar to the HOA in the residential market. So it is calculated annually. That is one big difference between residential and the office market or the commercial market. In residential, you typically quote, just to give an easy number, 50 cents per square foot monthly. In offices, it's $8 per square foot yearly. So that is the same as HOA. Ours is quoted on a yearly basis. On residential, it's quoted on a monthly basis. Why is that? The reason is because in residential, you are probably more used to renting on a yearly basis, on a 6-month basis. So you break it down to monthly fees. In the building or in the commercial sector, it is 3, 4, 5, 10-year leases. So you go ahead and quote it on a yearly basis. You don't typically do a 3-month lease or a 6-month lease. You always do minimum a year, and more common 3, 5, or 10 years. So that is the term that you'll hear: common area maintenance versus HOA. And a build out is when somebody needs to build out their office to accommodate them to what their needs are, the cost of construction of building it out. So you'll hear that term. What is, I need to have some build out. I need to, quote that and build it into the rent, and I need to negotiate the build out in order to accommodate it for me. The cap rate, that's a term that's used a lot by our investors to find out what is the cap rate. That is the rate that helps in evaluating a real estate investment valuation. Majority of you should know how to do that, which is it's a net operating income divided by the current market price or the current market value, which is the sales price. Once you do that, you're going to see numbers that vary anywhere from 3% all the way to 10%. And people are telling you, hey, does that office at least project a 5% cap rate? So cap rate is what a lot of the people that are in the office sector are buying for investment. They'll ask you, what is a cap rate? A tenant improvement allowance. Tenant improvement allowance is exactly what you are improving. The tenant, you own the office, the tenant is coming to go ahead and use it. You're going to rent it out to them, and they want to improve the space, and you want to give them an allowance. It is an improvement subsidy provided by the landlord to the tenant to improve the space. So I'm going to go ahead and build this out according to the tenant's needs, and it cost me $100,000 to build it out. But I'm only going to give you $50,000 because $50,000 is a standard build out. $50,000 is more custom to your office, and it's more luxury stuff. So I will give you $50,000 as a tenant improvement allowance. So think of that's what it means. It's basically negotiating how much of the build out that I'm going to improve in that space, I'm going to give back to the tenant as credit. Rent allowance is how long I will give him free rent. It's a rent reduction as part of the negotiation, or I'm going to reduce it while we're improving the space. So I start the lease August 1, and I'm going to give you 3 months to build out that space. So I'll give you three months. After the first 3 months, the clock starts ticking. If you still haven't moved in, that's it. That's on you. I'm giving you 3 months of rent allowance. The base rent, number 8, is measured annually in dollars per square foot. Residential is measured monthly. So same thing I mentioned on the rent or the HOA, which is measured on a monthly basis. So typically I'll say, yeah, we rent that in residential, I'll say we rent it at $2.50 a square foot on a monthly basis for the residential side. On the office sector, you will probably hear $40, $50. Why? $40 per square foot or $50 per square foot because it's calculated yearly. So again, some of the elements is just wording and then applying them from monthly to yearly. So that's what the base rent means. And then escalation clauses. You will hear in the office sector what escalation means is because we mentioned you are no longer doing monthly rents or 1-year rents. Now you're going into 2, 3, 5, 10-year rents. Well, if we start at $50 a year for rent, every year the cost of living has got to be added to that. So you'll hear a very common term of, we'll start year 1, $50 per year per square foot, and then we're going to have a 3% escalation clause. That means that 3% is added to the $50 every year, and that covers, so it's an increase in rent yearly. So that's an escalation clause. You have lease options, which is you'll have a 2-year or 5-year lease with an option to extend by the tenant. And that's built into that. In residential, as residential brokers, we can't even negotiate more than 1 year. It's illegal. In offices, you could. So you could actually rent a office space for 3 years, and they'll have an option to extend an extra 2 years at year 3. So it's the capacity provided to the tenant as per contract to extend the lease once the first terms are about to expire. It could be for 1 or multiple years. And then you'll have the type of leases that you've probably heard as well. They're called full service or gross leases. It includes full service or gross leases. They include all operating expenses such as utility and electricity. So let's say that number I gave you earlier for $50. The $50 means the tenant is paying $50 per square foot, and you as a landlord are receiving that 50 and you're paying everything else. The utilities, you're paying the HOA, which is called the CAM, you're paying for taxes, you're paying for insurance. So that's a gross. I'm receiving $50. Me as a landlord, I pay everything. Then you have modified gross, which means the rental rate in which landlord pays for some or all of the operating expenses. So I'm giving you $50, but you pay for the HOA. I'm just using the HOA so you all are familiar, which means the CAM. You pay for the CAM, so I'm getting 50, but you charge the maintenance on it, okay? And then you have net leases, which means a single net lease is a base rent, you're paying a rent, and you're paying maintenance. A double net means you're paying the rent, which is the number I give you as a landlord, we negotiate, plus the maintenance, and you're also paying taxes. And triple net, you're paying the base rent, plus the maintenance, plus the taxes, plus the insurance. So triple net, really, as a landlord, you're getting the money free and clear because you're paying for nothing. You're receiving, I don't know, $30, and then they're paying for maintenance, they're paying for taxes, they're paying for insurance. So it's triple net, double net, single net. It's a way to understand these. And then you have commission structures. Commissions, us in residential, they're based, we typically collect only on 1 year rent, and some residential brokers get lucky and they're able to pay on if they extend for year 2 or they do another contract. In offices, it's usually based on the life of the lease, depending on how long the leases can be. That is typically negotiated. So you could rent out an office for 10 years and you are paid commission on the total sum of that rent for the 10 years. Now, again, this is all negotiable. It might be a very large space and it could be a huge number, so they might negotiate that down. But commissions can vary based on the length and the lease and the size of the property. So those are the types of commission structures. You could negotiate all that. So those are some of the key elements, some of the terms that you might want to be familiar with. And again, some of you people maybe have heard of them, some of you have not. But once you start kind of diving into what it sounds like in residential and putting them, into what office market works, it's just the terminology that you switch it and then how you calculate it. Now, what we're seeing is that there is new types of offices and new type of trends in the market of what offices are looking like. There's a new type of office product will emerge. There's many companies that will transition into the best of both worlds. It's called the hybrid remote in office structures. There's going to be more flexible and smaller spaces. Now, get ready for what's coming, people. Today's office user is looking for smaller spaces because they are transitioning to hybrid and remote. They're going to be looking for more access to amenities. They're going to be looking for central location, which is easy to get in and get out because they're going to be coming into the office maybe once or twice a week versus 5 days a week. And they're going to be looking for connectivity and walkability, access to a lot of things to do, restaurants, eateries, and events. So they want connectivity and also connectivity and walkability to transportation. So that's a new type of office trend. The new office market has it's more of a flexible office market, means that they are looking for offices that have a little bit more flexibility in the type of usages. And that's why you're seeing a lot more flex spaces, they're called. Miami ranks number three in the amount of overall new offices coming to market behind San Francisco and Manhattan. But we're number 1, if you notice the yellow, in the Class A type of office in the amount of product that's coming to market with this new office type of product coming to market. So the new office user is looking for flex offices. We are number 1 in the Class A type of product that we have available and it's coming to market. And we're number 3 in overall type of product. Very important. And what is that type of product? They're called creative office buildings. What are they? They have an office that falls outside of a traditional layout. It's a thoughtfully designed space that evokes creativity, flexibility, and collaboration. What is a traditional layout? The old antiquated offices are the ones that you walk in. It's a normal lobby, no amenities in the building. You have bathrooms at every floor and maybe a gym if you get lucky. And the office space, the actual office inside, is a bunch of cubicles where everybody has their own little private office and there's no creativity, flexibility, and collaboration. Today's new office user, new millennial, they want open concepts where there's spaces where they could get together and really be creative. And it's got a lot less cubicles and spaces that can be designed where they can make them more flexible, smaller or bigger, depending on the uses. They're focused on three main pillars: design and construction, how they're designed, how they're built, the space usage, and the layout. That's what I just mentioned. How are they built, with what type of user in mind, and with tons of wellness and social amenities to it. Goodbye old offices where there's just no amenities in them. Today's office user, think of Google, think of Facebook, think of Apple. They are building mega complexes which have basketball courts, which have ping pong tables, pool tables, children's care, everything for their talent to feel not only like they're working, but they could have their fun at their office as well. So today's office is going to be requiring tons of amenities, just like you're hearing in the residential market. It is now spilling over into the office condo market. So why do you want to invest in office condos? This is for you, residential brokers. So this is for you when they tell you, hey, I'm looking to bring my money or my capital into South Florida. What do you recommend? Yes, there's tons of residential product out there. There's tons of beautiful product out there in pre-construction and under development, but there is rarely any types of office condos. And how we compare is a little bit different than residential. We typically have long-term contracts when you sign a tenant. It's not every year a tenant in residential you're having to either disoccupy because they move or renegotiate that rent. So they are long-term versus short-term. There's very little management versus intensive management, meaning this is just an office. There's no kids, there's no kitchens, there's no toilets, there's no pets, there's nothing. These are employees that come to work from 9 to 6, 4 walls, no kitchens, no bathrooms, no damages, done. Everybody hates that call at 10 o'clock at night that the toilet is not working and they need to send somebody immediately to fix it. Very little management in the office condo market. Very minimum dead time, meaning there's no, the rents are 3, 4, 5 years. So you rarely have any vacancy because they're almost always occupied. There's no maintenance, like I just mentioned, that call at 3 o'clock in the morning with the toilet. And portfolio diversification. You are now giving your client another option besides just residential. So you're no longer competing with another X amount of buildings or towers or houses that are all on the market for rent. You barely have any type of product that's in the office condo, so they could diversify their portfolio. Low maintenance fees, because what I just mentioned, there's not a lot of damages, not a lot of stuff, and there's very low inventory and high demand in the office condo. So that's a little bit about why invest in condos, and then why you want to tell them to buy versus lease. So the reasons to invest in office condos is benefits office ownership is they build equity, obviously. They hedge against inflation, so your rent could be going up, but that's it. You purchase your office, your rent is not going up. Your improvements contribute to future value, so any improvements are yours. And the resale opportunities in years to come, when you buy in pre-construction, for example, you have resale opportunities in years to come. You have the benefit from potential appreciation. Your property can be put in a trust, which means you could deduct mortgage interest from income taxes, deduct real estate taxes from income tax, and deduct depreciation expenses from income tax. So these are all benefits for you to talk to your clients and say, hey, I want to talk to you about diversifying your portfolio and another type of product, and it's office condos, and I want to show you why. When I mentioned there's very low inventory and there's high demand, this is really it. And majority of these are almost done. So there's really not one more or two office condos. If in a residential, I mean, there's many pages of types of product that we could take your clients to. Again, very few. Aventura Park Square, which is a great product in Aventura, Beacon Aventura, both of those are sold out. Forum Aventura is 95% sold out. And Beacon Hallandale, I believe, is also around 90%. Officina, beautiful product in Coral Gables, 2020 Ponce, and 210 Aventura, which is into pre-construction. And then obviously I mentioned Creative HQ, which is in the heart of downtown Miami, which just recently launched and is the new type of office that's coming to market for today's new user. So there's really very, very little inventory for you to compete with and for your investors to compete with in the office condo market. What is the new normal for office spaces? And I know you all have heard what is going to happen to the office market. Let's be real. What's happening is we are now in the eyes of the world. All this pandemic has taught us is we can now work remote, but let's be real. We're not going to stay in our home forever. We just can't conduct business from our home forever. We can't manage our corporation. We can't manage our employees from home forever. There's got to be some type of office use. And what is happening is there's going to be a different type. There's going to be smaller spaces. So maybe the corporation that needed 10,000 square feet could now get away with 7,000 or 6,000 because there's going to be team rotation. There's going to be hybrid work schedules. There's going to be maybe team A works on Mondays and Wednesdays, team B works on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then Friday is an open day. That's just an example. So there's going to be major migration from larger and more dense cities. The pandemic has taught a lot of corporations up north that said, you know what, I could work remote now. I don't have to have an address in Manhattan, just to use that. I could be in South Florida. I could do all my work remote, and I'm gonna go ahead and take advantage of the better quality of life, better weather, better taxes. That city now has grown up. It's got everything I want, which is everything we mentioned before. I'm moving to South Florida. I already go vacation there. I already have a second home. I'm moving either my company or I'm definitely having a satellite location there. South America, a lot of these people are saying, you know what, I've been thinking about moving to Florida anyway because of, you know, political instability, security or safety. Now the pandemic, I'm not going to go through a pandemic in South America or in Europe because the hospital is just not able to keep up with this. Let me move to South Florida. I know I could work remote. I could work from South Florida. So that is happening, people. Get ready, prepare, because what I have been hearing from many of these big organizations is they are scoping South Florida now going forward. There's going to be social distance workstations. There's going to be circulation signages so everybody flows in the same circulation ability, from conversion from open spaces to closed spaces. So you'll have movable walls. You'll have nano walls where you could open them up and close them. You'll have disposable placemats. There's going to be offices like Creative HQ, for example, that will have a lot of windows, a lot of balconies and airflows, and all the amenities will have access to outdoor spaces, gardens, rooftop, terraces. That is what the new office will look like. No longer enclosed, but inviting the outside and the airflow in. There's going to be a lot of cleaning and disinfecting hubs. There's going to be video conferencing technology, major upgrades, because it's taught us to work remote. Now we've got to make sure that the technology keeps up with it. So Zoom, Google, Meet, Microsoft Teams. So now that before we used to think we need a conference room that fits at least 30 people, we could get away with 10 people because only 8 or 5 will show up in the conference and another 20 will Zoom in or go ahead and conference in. We got to make sure we have the best conference rooms with the top of the line technology, with surround sounds, with the best web access for us to go ahead and connect remotely. So with that, I want to say thank you. I'm going to open it up for questions. I wanted to keep it to that 40 to 50 minute time frame, which I hit right on the head. Corinne, if you're listening, I'll be happy to answer any questions. And thank you all for joining the first educational series. Corinne?
Yes, thank you, Ivan, for everything. I think it was great. People are already asking for the video webinar, so that's great. Thank you so much. We have Victoria Lara asking if the rates that you spoke about, the TIA improvement rates, are prorated or fixed when it comes to negotiating with the landlord.
So yeah, so those are all parts of negotiation. You can go ahead and prorate it. Let's say I'm going to go ahead and give you that tenant improvement, but over the term of the first year versus let's say it was 50,000. I'm going to give you versus giving you 50,000 right up front. I'm going to give you 20,000 now, 20,000 month 3, 10,000 month 6. So those are all parts of the negotiation, just depending on the life of the lease, what type of tenant. If you really feel he's a great tenant, you want to be a little bit more flexible, make sure that he has everything up front because it's a great lease. It's for 5 years or for 10 years. It's a reputable firm. So it is really negotiated. But the answer to your exact question, it's really both. You could either do it upfront or prorated.
Thank you, Ivan. Then Tony Walton is asking, I've read COVID is the death of the open space phenomenon. Can Ivan comment on this?
Well, the open space, I think he might be talking about the enclosed space. The open space is what the COVID is what everybody is trying to, to try to get in front of. You want open space. It's like the restaurant industry right now. What is the restaurant industry doing? They're looking for outdoor dining areas where you could socially distance more. So these new buildings are going to have a lot more open space, outside airflow, areas where you're not having crowds all in one space. So the open space is what you want. And I think that's what he's referring to, unless he's talking about the inside of the office. The inside of the office, you still have to social distance, and you can have flexible walls depending on the uses of your office.
Got it. Jamil Jabai is asking, what are your thoughts on the remote work environment?
Well, listen, I think it's really woke us up to several things. It's showed us that we can work remotely. It showed employers that their employees can work remotely. But you know what? It was extremely popular the first 2 months when we were going through this. After 2 months, people started realizing, I can't do this full time. I gotta get back to the office. Why? Because the environment is not set up for a full-time office environment. You need the culture. You need to associate yourself with the employees. You need creativity. You need to team up. You need to have every once in a while that team meeting. You need to go ahead and really feel the culture of the company, and you could only feel that in the actual office. So the technology's always been there. It's really always been there. It's just that now we are learning how to use it, and we've been forced, and now we feel comfortable using the technology in order to hybrid or to remotely work. But the office space, don't get it wrong, it's never going to go away. It's actually going to get more popular because now they're going to have to be built with this new normal in mind, and that's what's going to become popular. What are the new offices that can accommodate this new normal? The older offices that were not ready for that don't have the amenities. I'll just give an example. Creative HQ has 70,000 square feet of amenities. It's 3 levels of amenities that have restaurants, that have gyms, that have saunas, outdoor tracks, boxing rings. It's nonstop, jacuzzis, steam rooms, but all of this is outdoor area. It's nano walls. Almost 90% of the amenities can become outdoor. So these developers are now building these buildings or these offices with this new normal in mind and thinking of this pandemic, because if it ever happens again, we are now acclimated and ready to deal with it and get back to work to the office sooner than later, because we do want to go back to our office. We just cannot stay at home forever.
Yes, I have Natalia Nunez, the sales director of Creative HQ on the question panel, and she's also reminding us that COVID, yes, it's going to be a thing that is not forever. It's going to pass at some point. So it's going to go back to a new normal very soon enough.
Yes. Yes.
Edward Cruz is asking, the HOA payment is once a year?
No. So, and that's a good question, Edward. No, you do pay it monthly or whatever. Maybe the management is trimester or quarterly. It is depending on how they set it up. Typically, you do see it monthly. I'm just saying they're quoted. When you quote them on a yearly basis. So let's say you quote $8 common area maintenance, and then another $8 for tax. So typically you just hear the numbers on a yearly basis, but you could charge them monthly or quarterly or however the management company is set up.
Perfect. Victoria is also asking if you see an executive suite kind of situation.
Well, the executive suites I see more for short-term usages. You know, some people that are just want to get over here, they look for a space just to see if they get acclimated to Miami and they want to use that as a short term. They're very expensive. They're much more expensive than, you know, this type of office. And usually they're designed because they have smaller spaces available for the, you know, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 type of teams. So why are these new buildings now being designed? Again, Creative HQ is a great example. They have spaces as small as 490 square feet. So now you don't have to go to a works, you know, this flexible or this, the WeWorks of the world, for example, to rent only 300 square feet. Now you have these new buildings that are being designed with smaller spaces in mind to accommodate, so you don't have to pay those high rents.
And I have one last tough question, and it's from Maria Emilia Salgado, and she's asking, she sold the space at Forum in February and has been very hard to rent it. Any ideas would be highly appreciated.
Boy, I wish I had. I mean, it's February. That's probably the worst time ever to go to market. You hit it right in the pandemic. I just feel very confident. I want to tell you that I'm very familiar with that product. In the next, I believe it's the next month to 2, Virgin Brightline is starting their construction right next door to Forum Aventura. That is going to be a game changer for that building. You're going to see the Brightline station stopping in Aventura very soon. And trust me, the future is going to be looking very good for that office because people are going to want to be right next to that transportation. So you just hit it. It's just, you know, unfortunately, the luck wasn't on your side with this, with the timing that you got ready to put it to market, but it's going to turn around quick.
Thank you, Ivan. And Jamil Jubai is also asking, do you know the efficiency percentage of Creative HQ?
The efficiency percentage. I'm not sure what that question means. I'm sorry. I could get back to him, or he could direct message me or us, and we'll get back to him. I'm not sure what that means.
Jamil, if you don't mind, like writing your email, and I'll put you in contact with Ivan.
It could be that he's talking about the common area factor.
Oh, efficiency rate.
No, I don't. I've never heard the term that way. It could be the common area factor, which some people say, you know, how efficient, which in our case, at Creative HQ is 20%. No, 25%. Sorry.
Okay. Yes, that's it. He says. Thank you so much. You got it.
That's it. It's just some people call it different ways, so I apologize if I didn't understand the first time.
And Deborah, last question, is asking, will there be another training?
Another training.
Training
Oh,
from
yes. So yeah, we want to continue with these. We got extreme good reception, which makes me excited to know that the residential community is seeing the transformation of Miami and South Florida as a whole, and they're going to see a lot of commercial clients coming their way. So we'll probably go to the next level. We're also going to offer this in Spanish for a Spanish-speaking community. So yeah, we look forward to probably getting for another series with another type of training on this. Absolutely.
Perfect. Ivan, thank you so much. I think that's it for now.
Okay.
So
I want to thank everybody. I want to also thank my team, Corinne, you behind managing everything. Thank you so much. We had Juan Reese, which is with our One Sotheby's. He was the master that put this presentation with all these videos and all these presentation. He's amazing. Thank you so much. Natalia, which also joined us. She's the sales director at Creative HQ and our sales team there. There's great product in the market right now. Reach out, get associated, get comfortable, and just let us know if there's any questions. Email us directly. We'll be happy. And then I could also do these series for your offices. So the broker offices that want to do this just for your office on your monthly sales meeting or anything, let me know. I'll go ahead and do it for your offices as well. Okay, so thank you very much and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.